Hi everybody, I'm just going to go and have a cup of tea, but I just want to bring up something relating to YouTube, because obviously it's had this advertiser drought as such, a lot of people pulling out, and I've had a few people that have sort of said, well, is it worth the hassle at doing a channel? The first thing I want to say is my channels are financially recovering. This channel, for example, was down. It was an odd one because I'd actually done more activity to try and push it up a little bit. So it had gone to nearly 200, and then it dropped to, it'd gone up by about $50 in a month. And then the advertiser drought started, and then it dropped down to below 100. And now it's gone up to well, let's put it this way, another $30 and it'll be where it was. So it's recovered, about another 25%, and it'll be back where it was. So in all honesty, it's not as bad as it was, and it wasn't. And obviously they probably still got some advertisers to come back. I haven't really been doing as much work because I've been literally working, so I haven't really been pushing the channel. So bizarrely, when I was pushing it, it went up, then they had the drought and it crashed it, and then it sort of recovered when I'm actually not doing much. So it's just, that's the nature of the beast. But on the other side of this, you've got to understand, it's like this. This video discussing this is going to be about 2.5 minutes long. It's a live stream. It'll be on and off my phone in 5-10 minutes. It doesn't take a lot of time to make this sort of stuff. So in all honesty, when you do this stuff, you've got to look at, is it worth the return in investment in time? If it's not, then it's up to you whether you do it because you like doing it. Because I like sharing the information, so I still do it even though there was no money. I was been blogging since 2008, February 2008, and I wasn't even cashing into AdSense at that time. So it depends what you're doing it for. Also, you've got a lot of opportunities there if you have services that you can offer people. Like, for example, we do a fair bit of stuff for expat services in Spain now. I'm looking at stuff I can do relating to the facilities management and asset side, but in all honesty, I don't really watch that much stuff of other people, so I'm very unlikely to get much use out of it myself either. So I'm sort of, it's not really worth my time. But at the same time, sitting doing tutorials on things like Excel, how to use LinkedIn, how to, I mean, I was just watching one earlier actually, which is how to strip a crab in a restaurant. It's got 2.4 million views. That's the bizarre thing with the internet, is you're never 100% what actually is going to go viral or not. But that's part of the fun of it, is actually doing stuff you like doing. The money's secondary. You know, at the end of the day, if you make some money on it, good. But if you want to do it as a full-time business, you'll see that if you look at the way some of the people that make money off explaining what you should be doing on YouTube, when it all went sour, they were promoting services, selling their services. It's more a case of they'll find a new way to cash in on it. So in my mindset, it's sort of devalued their value because they become very obvious that they're purely in it for the money. You know, when somebody's saying, oh, I'm going to sell you a course on how to make money on YouTube, even though I'm doing this because YouTube's crashing, that doesn't really sell to me. So yeah, you've got to decide what you're doing it for, what you're going to get out of it. Do you do it for the fun of it? I mean, I'm looking at spending £1,000 on a new drone. So am I going to get the money back on that? Eventually. Probably just before I buy another one. But ultimately, that's what you got to look at. I mean, I'm looking at buying a new laptop because I was trying to do a video earlier and my laptop's falling over at the minute. So will I get £500 back? The answer is yes. I already can recover that out of my YouTube money. And in all honesty, if I bought a laptop, I'd probably pop out about 100 to 250 tutorials on various things, and over the next year or so I'll probably recover the £500. So there is reasons for doing it on a financial side. But if you're thinking, I'm going to do YouTube full time, I'm going to give up work, I'm just going to sit at home and do this, your chances of failure are much higher than success. The way to get it to grow is organically as well. I mean, mine goes up and down depending on what I'm doing. You know, if I'm in the Philippines, this will like boom up a bit. Same with the Spanish channel, it's a bit slower on the growth because it's quite an established location and there's a lot of information already out there, and it's a safer environment, I suppose. So I suppose the people don't need as much information, but I'm sure if I started going around all the museums and things, I'd probably pick up an entire new bunch of people. So you got to decide what you want to do it for. If you just want to do it for the fun of it and maybe even get a car out of it, then I'd say yeah, you could probably get a car out of it over a couple of years. But the main focus is actually turning around doing it because you love doing it. You will get money out of it. You will make some money out of it. You may get rich on it, but the chance of that happening are so slim. And one of the things I would say, if you're going to the Philippines side, use it as part of your travel, but have other stuff. If you look at this channel, it's broad. There's a lot of stuff on there. There's all sorts, down to Excel tutorials and all sorts, because you find people want different information. So somebody may watch my channel for Excel tutorials and couldn't care less about the Philippines. And you'll get other people that watch the Philippine stuff but no interest in Excel. So you can do it that way, which is just have lots and lots of playlists and separate them out, or have separate channels. But the thing with the channels now, because they want the 10,000 views, it's probably easier to actually have multiple things on the same channel than it is to have, say, 10 channels where you've got to get 10,000 viewers on each one of them to get your AdSense switched on. But the other thing on this is, like with Spain, we're seriously looking at getting into the property market side there, where that could be an entire business that is predominantly fed through traffic. You know, online traffic. It's going to be websites, it's going to be using YouTube videos, it's going to be going around and touring the places, because a lot of people do not put the same sort of effort in. Even just wandering around like this with a camera. The amount of stuff I see relating to property that is just a static feed of a slideshow of photographs, and you're thinking, why am I watching this? And that's the way to look at it. You can improve on a lot of stuff. There is money in all sorts, but don't just focus on one niche unless you know it's a good niche. Like if you know a lot about insurance and things like that, and forex trading, I'm sure there's a good market in there. There's markets for making money on the affiliate side. The main thing is understanding, will it help your channel or damage it? Because if it becomes too commercial, a lot of people like myself are on YouTube because we're not pro-commercial. You know, we're not big fans of all the advertising stuff. So yeah, but there's certainly money in it, and I would just say, don't take it as a job. Take it as a hobby. Develop your skills, start to understand it a bit more, and over time you'll find it pays off. Like I said, mine pays my electric bills in the Philippines. It pays well, it pays for my mother-in-law to live there without any stress or worries, because it covers all her bills. But on top of that, when we've got the apartments rented out, it pays for renovations as well. So there is also, and not like that, advertising in the apartments. A lot of people, because they see me a lot like this, are quite happy to approach me, because there's some sort of connection, even though 90% of it's one way, because obviously you see me but I don't see you. But with that connection, they say, well, I'll rent an apartment off Matt, and that's another thing. You know, these sort of things don't get really seen, but there is a positive output. But yeah, there's certainly money in it. I know myself, I was looking at moving away, but now it's starting to recover. In all honesty, I'll just leave it as it is. I'm too busy to bother about it. And the fact that it's not got any worse but actually improved is, I wouldn't say a bonus. It's just nice to be heading back in the right direction. If we can get that back up, heading towards the $200 mark, I'll be happy. It's not big money, and I know Henry over at Life Beyond the Seas mentioned that he was making good money and it sort of tailored off. That is what happens, because he's got the same thing I have, which is basically you've already covered the Philippines, and if you're living there and not got something else to follow it with, you've moved into, I don't know, Afghanistan, then there's nothing to follow on with. So once you've covered most of the topics, you have a lot of people asking questions and regurgitating information, but you've covered the majority of things that people were interested in that topic initially. Things like learning languages, Excel, blah, 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 they're expansive because they're more complex for a lot of people, you know, because they start off at this level and start progressing with it. So there's a lot to do, and like I said, in my view, I recommend just doing lots of different things, because some people find some stuff interesting. Like I do bits on the T4 that gets some positive feedback. I do stuff like, I mean, a good video was related to language issues in software. We're trying to find where the buttons are to switch them back, because I mean, even with mobile phones, you know, when your kids are in there and they've put it in Chinese or whatever, trying to find out how to reset it back to English could be a bit of a rigmarole. So even stuff like that people need. So they become quite useful videos, and they very much appreciate it because it gets them out of a problem. All right, thanks for watching anyway. Have a great day. I'm just going to have a cup of tea. Sun's just setting in the background. My dad's off in the Pyrenees at the moment as well, so he's off doing his photography. So I'm sort of looking after the housewives away. So take it easy.